I was 17. Two officers escorted me, cuffed, into the new housing unit that was called Administrative Segregation Unit, which was ADSEG for short, but Isolated Confinement. They took me into a cage-like holding cell, and I noticed two things. When I looked up, I noticed that 70% of the housing population there could see me. The officers then proceeded to strip search me. So I was naked, and I stood naked as the officers transferred me over officially. And while I was standing naked, facing 70% of the view of people there was a loud, chaotic hum. People were yelling, but they weren't yelling anything. They weren't rambling or babbling. They were trying to make a human connection with me. And because the officers don't want to hear human connections being made, they turned on an industrial-sized fan. And in this fan, the fan is already loud. It's a very loud humming noise. The officers take a newspaper, probably about this thick, stuff it in the back of the fan, so it makes a loud smacking sound that goes over top of the yelling of human connections trying to be made to my naked body. And then the officers transfer me over. Now, before they transferred me into my holding cell, my isolated confinement unit, someone said, "Yo, Sarge, are we supposed to put him in a room with somebody? I think he's a juvenile." The Sarge said, "Put him in the room by his fucking self." So they put me in the room by myself. While I was in solitary confinement, I thought twice about what I was supposed to be doing, which was high school. I was 17. Because that was ignored on all fronts of my education, my academic progress was completely stopped right then and there. I went through various mental breakdowns, and my mind deteriorated as I sat alone in an isolated cell by myself, a little smaller than this box I'm standing in now. The only human connection I eventually made was my neighbor. You see, the cells have cracks, large cracks in the walls, so we can slide our fingers to the back part and make the little bare human connection that we possibly can. A desire for a humane relation in an inhumane circumstance. I don't even know whose hand it was. It was just white. And all I remember is he probably heard me crying, having a mental breakdown, and said, "Yo, bro, you need some cigarettes?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I need some cigarettes." And he gave me half a pack of cigarettes for 2 Reese's Buttercups, which you may not know this, but it's a lot. And we held conversations, and we had a human relationship. I do not know whose hand that was. Afterwards, I realized that I needed to bring myself and get myself together. And I tried to do this by having a regular rest schedule, which was difficult. You see, that loud, chaotic hum was incessant, constant, and consistent with being a part of ASEG and sleeping there in this isolated, confined cell. So I would tie a sweater around a pillow and then around my head after my ears were stuffed with toilet paper because I couldn't sleep. And no matter how cold it was, I would tie a sweater around a pillow around my head with tissue stuffed in my ears. Some people ask me, what was your family doing? Or what did they think about it? And you know what? I didn't have a family that necessarily wanted to speak to me every single day, but they wanted to speak to me once a month at least. No one knew where I was at for 2 months. A mother didn't know where her son was at. My mother didn't know where her son was at. A grandmother didn't know where her son was at. My nana didn't know where her son was at. For 2 months, at least. I don't remember. It's traumatic to think about. To this day, I wrap a sweater around a pillow around my head to go to bed.